Why? Why? Why did they keep making Jurassic Park films? I mean, haven't we said all we need to say about Jurassic Park already? I mean, remember there was a stage where we only got 3Ds in like 20 years and now we've had 4 in a decade? I've got my trusty glass of water here because I can just feel our rant coming on. I mean, look, anything could be good though, right? Maybe I should just relax. Although I do have my clip handy if I find out it's bad.
That is one big pile of shit.
Whew, nobody would have thought of that joke before. It's so fresh and original. No, it's not. But neither is Jurassic World Rebirth.
We're here to collect what's left. Just the DNA samples. In and out.
Let's go.
Strap in for Jurassic Park 7 or Jurassic World Rebirth. Because I guess Jurassic World Reboot was just too on the nose. I can't believe we're still making Jurassic Park movies. It feels like we're all in the same boat with these. They come out, they're not great, but they make $1 billion anyway. And it's weird because the movies keep preaching the idea that people are getting sick of those boring old dinosaurs, so they need to come up with crazier methods to get the public's interest again. And given the lack of new ideas from the filmmakers and the consistent audience showing up for these anyway, it really indicates that no one's ever getting sick of dinosaurs, seemingly. I think first we should examine how creatively bankrupt the Jurassic Park franchise is, though. Time for a recap. The first Jurassic Park film was a sincere examination of man's hubris in playing God. And naturally hubris leads to Nemesis, the downfall of the park and the abandoning of the idea, and a stark reminder that you shouldn't interfere with the course of nature. Sometimes animals went extinct, and perhaps we shouldn't interfere with nature's decisions, as they abandoned the island of dinosaurs and the ideas for a theme park, having truly learnt their lesson. Jurassic Park 2, turns out a family has stumbled onto the dinosaur island, but a different dinosaur island next to the old dinosaur island, and they want to set up a theme park in San Diego with those dinosaurs because apparently they didn't learn their lesson. Jurassic Park 3, a family stumbles upon that same dinosaur island and hope to get off the dinosaur island. Man, even 2 and 3 were kind of stretching that premise thin, weren't they? Jurassic World, back to the original dinosaur island so we can learn the lessons we've all seemingly forgot. Don't make a theme park with dinosaurs and don't play God. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, go back to the original dinosaur island and save those dinosaurs. No, wait, save us from the dinosaurs. They don't like being sold or something. I'm a clone! We don't have time to talk about the clone storyline. Anyway, dinosaurs are now in the real world. How will we coexist? Jurassic World Dominion. It'll be fine. We should really be more worried about the locust. Hey, look over there! It's the original cast! Should have saved them for a better film. Man, those Jurassic World sequels went off the rails quickly. So it seems like the general rule of thumb for these movies is either a family gets dragged into the danger or they go to Dinosaur Island and have a grand old time. But I shouldn't judge. Maybe, this film will be different. So the essential story of Jurassic World Rebirth is that dinosaurs have more or less settled in the more hospitable environments along the equator, and a pharmaceutical company thinks that they get the DNA from 3 specific dinosaurs that they can get a drug that will really make a difference when it comes to heart disease. So they have to go to, say it with me, Dinosaur Island. Yeah, tick that one off the list. 50% ain't bad. There's no family getting lost or stranded. Oh, no, wait. Family gets lost and stranded on the island and has to get through the whole adventure and fight for their own survival. I'm a clone, just like a previous version. Yeah. I think I just got Jurassic Park bingo. Now, it might sound like I'm being snarky, and I am, but I bring up those 2 factors because that is what combines the whole plot of Jurassic World Rebirth, and it kind of hampers the whole thing. Because these stories feel really disconnected, there's no payoff between the stories. We have the A story of the team trying to get the DNA and the B story of the family trying to survive, and they feel very disconnected. They don't feel really interwoven, they feel smashed together, and that is a real drawback because it feels like there's now so many characters to juggle that the characters feel really, really underdeveloped. And while the family story does have its moments, I was far more interested in the team trying to catch the DNA, and really it felt like the side plot kind of dragged things down. Psst. I heard your mama likes to catch DNA. Let's talk about those characters though. And first we have Scarlett Johansson playing Zora, who's this covert mercenary type, which is hardly a stretch for her as an actor, but she's likeable enough in the role. And look, no one's going to complain about watching Scarlett Johansson run around the jungle fighting dinosaurs. Then we have Mahershala Ali, who's also a covert mercenary type. He's a colleague and friend of Zora, and he is the incredibly uncool first name of Duncan, but he's nicely balanced by having the far cooler second name of Kincaid. They hint at both these characters having like a kind of a tragic backstory, and that happens really early on, and that's kind of it. That's about as much development as you're going to get for these characters, unfortunately. And then rounding out the team, we have Henry, who is played by Jonathan Bailey. He's like a paleontologist on the team, kind of the moral centre of the team, and basically just there to shout dinosaur exposition. But overall, he was pretty good in the role, even if the character itself is a little bit underwritten. They all have good chemistry together, especially Scarlett. She plays off both her leads very well, but Jonathan Bailey especially, the dynamic between their characters is very, very good. But I would have preferred if they played up Zora's kind of questioning of her own morality a little bit, about whether she's doing this for the money or to do good. We get a little bit of that, but it feels like we could have got a lot more. And it would have made the character a bit more interesting. As is, these characters are totally serviceable, if a little one note. We also have Rupert Friend, who is a pharmaceutical representative who got this team together to get the dinosaur DNA, and yeah, you figured out already, he's a bit of a bad guy. Which, unfortunately, it feels like they never really turn up as much as they should. It feels like he's never kind of fully villainous. It would have been a lot more fun if he was, and instead of that we get a character that could have been fun and memorable, and instead is just a bit unremarkable. I don't have anything to say about the family characters in the film. They're pretty forgettable, and in general, the dynamic is nothing we haven't seen a million times before. But I do want to say before we move on, not since the days of Star Trek red shirts has it been clearer who is going to be dinosaur food, because really, really clear who is going to make it out of this film and who is not. And I normally wouldn't care with that, but it really kind of removed the peril and threat and undermined some of the big action set pieces for me. Which, of course, there are big action set pieces, but I have to say, for the first chunk of this film, they had me being like Jeff Goldblum in the first movie, because it took a while to get going. And now, eventually, you do plan to have dinosaurs in your dinosaur film, right?
I really hate that man.
When it does get moving, though, the action set pieces really do work, and conveniently the plot allows that the dinosaur DNA they need is in the air, on the land, and in the sea, meaning we get a lot of variety in our set pieces. The sea scene was clearly an homage more to Jaws than Spielberg's Jurassic Park, but it was entertaining and quite enjoyable, and so it totally did work. Then we have the land scene, which is definitely an homage to Jurassic Park. It's a very clear riff on when they first see the dinosaurs in the original film. And the John Williams score does the heavy lifting there. But it was surprisingly effective, even though it feels like it's promising a narrative that's a bit more endearing and introspective than what's unfolding on screen. The air scene, which I'll call it, was my favourite, personally, because it was quite tense, and it felt like something, I won't go as far as saying new, but it felt like something we've less commonly seen in the Jurassic series. So overall, the action set pieces really do land, and that's really what you need and want from these films. The dinosaurs themselves in this film are often mutant experiments, meaning we get a lot of unconventional dinosaur designs, the most prominent of which is the Distortus Rex, because apparently we can't go into a Jurassic Park trilogy, Jurassic World trilogy, or potential trilogy without a surrogate T-Rex character. And the Distortus Rex I thought was very ugly to look at, but that's kind of the point, I guess. And it serves as a suitable threat, which is really all you need it to do. It's kind of the big monster that we kind of are expecting to see in the final act, and that's kind of my problem with the final act. It just feels like everything we'd seen a million times before. It was fine, and it was relatively entertaining, but I do think it was kind of overshadowed by some of the previous set pieces. All that said, it's not a bad film. I think Gareth Edwards' direction is pretty good. Most of the issues I have with the film are script issues, but when the film does get going and it's a madcap dash to get dinosaur DNA, there is fun to be had, and I think the effects are good, and there's a nice kind of sense of scale to this film that it feels like we kind of lost with some of the latter Jurassic World films. I mean, it's probably like somewhere in the middle of the Jurassic films, maybe the upper half. It's better than the last two, but is that really saying much? On the whole, Jurassic World Rebirth certainly feels like somebody pressed the reset button as the series retreats to the safety of what really worked in this franchise to begin with, and sticks that same old formula, original recipe, Jurassic Park. And it does that with mixed results. It's certainly enjoyable enough while you're watching, but it also isn't especially memorable or interesting. Look, nobody's going to complain about watching sexy stars fight dinosaurs, but there isn't much else to this film than that. It's kind of like seeing a tribute band play the greatest hits. That might be exactly what you're looking for on a Saturday night. But after a bit of time, you think maybe they could just play something different, or try something new, or just something a bit more original. And look, Jurassic World Rebirth certainly is going to feel alive and kicking to the hardcore fans or the dinosaur obsessed. But to many, including myself, you can't help but feel that maybe Jurassic World, it's time for it to go extinct.